Batman, Indiana Jones, Marvel. I've nearly lost count of how many brands have undergone the LEGO treatment since my first foray into the various LEGO games since LEGO Star Wars in 2005. And after a 2-hour demo session with LEGO Horizon Adventures, based of course on Sony's 2-game open-world robot dinosaur hunting action-adventure franchise, I'm happy to report that it's familiar enough for long-term fans of LEGO games, but could be just different enough to reignite the interest of fans who have begun to skip over other recent ones.
Who is that?
Not sure. Hello there! Whoa!
Now, I can't say precisely what it is yet, but in the best way possible, something felt different when playing LEGO Horizon Adventures as opposed to the countless other LEGO games I've played. It didn't feel like a LEGO game. It felt like a game that just happened to be portrayed through a LEGO lens.
Hey, now wait a minute!
My only hunch about why it felt so different is that Guerrilla Games and Studio Gobo are handling development instead of this being a traditional Traveler's Tales LEGO game. Whether that'll be a positive or negative in the long run is still to be seen, but at the very least, it hooked me right out the gate.
Oh, amazing!
After playing just 1 or 2 encounters in our demo, my co-op partner and I came to the consensus of, why haven't we gotten a co-op Horizon game yet? Teaming up against machines from the left and right side to destroy multiple parts at once felt rewarding.
Now we're cooking.
The humorous or heroic moments recreated by baiting enemies towards the edge and then simply knocking them off a cliff while reviving each other and both instinctively plopping down Hot Dog Cart Man for maximum chaos just felt inherently good.
Hot dog's coming up, extra spicy!
So how does Horizon translate into LEGO form? Very well, actually. And a lot of what I got to experience early on in my demo was covered in our previous preview. So I'll mainly be focusing on the upgrades and skill tree mechanics, as well as a deeper dive into the combat. LEGO Horizon Adventures feels like another Horizon game, with the only difference being that everything is made of Legos. Aloy is witty and deadly with her bow,
Oh, that weak part isn't so weak.
as are the enemies she comes across, especially on the maximum difficulty setting, which I jumped into to test out during our 2-hour demo session. It may be novel, but I've never worried about dying in a LEGO game before. Yet, with LEGO Horizon Adventures, I felt compelled to sit up a bit in my chair to make sure I was dodging the fast-flying arrows from cultists and making sure to destroy homing projectiles from watchers that felt like they would chase me forever. It wasn't difficult in the, oh man, here goes my 5th or 6th attempt on this boss in Elden Ring sense, but for once, I could feel a LEGO game start to push back in a way that they don't normally do, and that felt great. To put this in perspective, on the maximum difficulty, one hit from a traditionally weaker enemy like a grazer, the deer enemies in Horizon, using its jumping slam attack would remove 2¼ hearts from our 3 hearts early on, and the hordes of cultists attacking us would deal 1¾ with their spear attacks. This became more forgiving as we leveled up and saw our maximum health increase to 5 hearts, which only took maybe an hour or so, but it has me wondering, if these basic enemies are dealing that much damage, how hard is a Thunderjaw going to hit us with its tail swipe or laser attacks? And since health doesn't automatically recover, we quickly got used to rationing the limited healing items available in each arena we would fight in.
I'll pick it up later.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see if there was a penalty for both players dying, as my co-op partner and I were able to revive each other each time we happened to get knocked out, which is done by simply holding a button while standing next to the ghost of a fallen ally.
Hey, no time for a nap.
We did notice that any temporary upgrades, like the multi-shot bow or Hot Dog Man cart, would be lost on death, so that was at least some incentive to try and not die.
Overload! Nice!
Like Zero Dawn and Forbidden West, Aloy and her friends have access to a focus, and can use it to identify things in the environment you can interact with. Here it will highlight objects or structures you can build or destroy, chests to open for items or currency, and targeting weak points on machines. This is one of my favorite mechanics to transfer to the LEGO format, as it added a bit of depth to the combat. Taking down cultists or machines rewards you with the experience to level up Aloy and friends, and bestows rewards such as increased health, bonus damage, and other things. There are also character-specific upgrades, such as Varl's Piercing Damage Spear that gains bonus damage for each additional enemy he hits on a spear throw, incentivizing us to line up foes to maximize his damage, as well as universal upgrades for things like bonus experience, increasing the duration of status effects on enemies, or bonus damage when attacking from stealth. These can be substantial upgrades when maxed out. having an enemy on fire for 6 extra seconds can be helpful to chew through their health, especially on the higher difficulties.
Your hand's on fire. Wait, what?
One of the early upgrades we invested in was Weak Sauce, which granted bonus experience for removing weak points on machines and topped out with a whopping 50% bonus when fully upgraded. Many of these upgrades are locked until you collect enough gold bricks, earned by completing stages for the first time, or fulfilling various jobs at the community board in Mother's Heart. This offered additional gold bricks for things like adding a table with a feast to a house in Mother's Heart and then enjoying the festivities. There were also more combat-oriented ones, such as destroying 8 enemies with elemental damage or removing a specific number of weak points on machines. Our time in the demo took us across multiple stages in one area that changed after clearing the one before it. One mission had us freeing citizens of Mother's Heart from cultists, and another battling hordes of machines. The final stage of the demo took us inside of one of Horizon's usually formidable cauldrons. Despite all these stages beginning from the same starting point, the areas beyond the initial zone would change drastically, leading us to different areas with different objectives, keeping each level feeling fresh. After spending a few hours with LEGO Horizon Adventures, I now can't wait for its release. Though looking back, I do have a few things that stood out that I'm curious how they're going to handle. Bosses are big fights with multiple large machines as you'd expect in cauldrons, and how are they going to handle Silence after the passing of Lance Reddick, whose performance played such a prominent part of the first 2 Horizon games. The early story beats we saw were primarily early game and focused on Helis and Hades as antagonists, which makes sense since this will take place in the Horizon Zero Dawn timeline, and nearly every story bit, from being unable to count enemies because the characters don't have fingers, to the LEGO hot dog cart showing up, means that they aren't afraid to have fun with the storyline and characters, which could mean that Helis and Hades could be elevated to play a more significant role in the story and help navigate sensitivities involved.
Eventually, you'll find me, and I have a special surprise planned when you do.
For more on LEGO Horizon Adventures, don't miss the announcement trailer and the release date trailer. And for everything else in the world of gaming, stick with IGN.